So today on Straight Talk, I'm pleased to introduce Patty Ollinger, the Executive Director of GBAC, and also Steve Earhart, who's the Director of Program Management with GBAC. How are you both doing today?
Very well, thank you. Happy New Year.
Great. Thanks, Jeff.
We are going to talk about football. So the championship game for college football is next Monday at Hard Rock Stadium, unless they postpone it. There's a little bit of talk about that on the news. We'll see what happens. But Hard Rock Stadium is a GBAC STAR facility, accredited facility. So, the game is going to have about 16,000 fans in attendance, and they're going to be there, and the place is open and operating partly due to GBAC STAR. So just what does this mean for this game coming up? Maybe, Steve, you could tell us a little bit about what you think.
Sure. So Hard Rock, home of the Miami Dolphins, thankfully they've experienced an entire NFL season now that just wrapped up, and they've been able to kind of dial in all of their procedures relative to hosting an event, especially with fans. From the fan perspective, what this accreditation means to them is kind of a new way of experiencing a football game. So you have things like your ingress and your egress from the stadium based on where your tickets are. You have how the seating bowl is arranged based on your group size, based on your ticket package. Taking into consideration the physical distance required. How things are cleaned, how the concessions interact with the fans with contactless payment. But this isn't solely focused on the fan experience. This is also takes into consideration the employees that work at the stadium. It's going to be the different visitors, contractors, and the people working behind the scenes that work on an event as large as the national championship. So those are considered things like broadcast equipment, the trucks and trailers for hosting an event like this, the food and beverage prep before it even reaches the concessions. And then you got things like the players, the refs, and the coaches, all of the different areas of the stadium that they're going to be in, all of the surfaces that they're going to be in contact with, understanding that with this accreditation comes along with consideration for high touch point cleaning before, during, and after procedures of an event. So it's kind of an all-encompassing, taking into consideration every individual that's going to enter the stadium.
And who do you hope wins the game, Steve?
Well, I'm up in Michigan, so it's going to be tough. I have to make a decision. Do I root for the Big Ten, or do I go against my most hated rival? So I don't know. I don't have an answer yet.
Well, we have the talented Buckeyes playing some team in Alabama. So that's all I know. So Patty, let's go to you. Hard Rock Stadium was, I believe, the first large venue, the first stadium to be accredited.
It was the first NFL football stadium to be accredited. Absolutely. We had the Staples Center in Los Angeles was also one of our first with basketball.
Yeah. So what's happened since then with large venues like this, stadiums and arenas?
Well, I have to say, the one thing that I want to just really point out is that, if one stadium opens and the rest of them don't, you don't have a season. You don't have a football season. And so I have to really hand it off to our sporting industry, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, NHL, triathlons. What we have found is that they really are working together. They share information. They want everybody to open. They want everybody to open safely, because it means that then they can have their business. And, when you think about it, it is really, you could make the argument that this industry, the sporting industry and the athletics industry, is the true epitome of health and wellness being so much, in the forefront for their fans, for their employees, and for the players, as Steve indicated. And it goes all aspects. What I have seen in this industry is that they really, they need to be in compliance. They're going to make sure that, like, for instance, the disinfectants that they use, they're going to be on the EPA N list. They're going to make sure that things are in place. They will get the equipment that they need to have. They protect their employees. They're really thinking about that whole customer experience. And yet they want to push the envelope. Okay, what's next? The new technologies, they're not afraid of trying and learning and looking at and going beyond what you would say compliance as well.
So as a fan, if I were to attend this game, would I know about GBAC STAR by going into the facility? What are we
We
going to
hope
see?
so. It's one of those, the facilities all have, we'll say the bling, from a standpoint of the symbol, the GBAC star symbol that they're all starting to utilize now. Things have happened so fast, and they're putting those out on the facilities, on the doors and that. The other thing is they're going to start seeing some real visible things that are happening in the facility. We promote the fact that people want to see cleaning happen. They want to see where those hand sanitizers are. And so things like that are going to become more visible, and you'll be able to recognize that it is a STAR facility because of a lot of the SOPs that they're putting in place. And that STAR symbol is going to become, more known throughout not just the sporting industry, but hotels and conventions and airports and American Airlines and others.
So this game coming up, the college championship, is just one game. What about other big events that we might see coming up at GBAC STAR facilities?
Other GBAC STAR facilities that have been hosting events, either this past month or upcoming, we've got Raymond James Stadium and Tampa Sports Authority. They'll be hosting the Super Bowl this year, February 7th. We have 24 of the 30 NBA teams that have signed on, and 22 of those have already received the accreditation. We have 12 NHL venues that have signed on, 8 more NFL stadiums and 3 MLB stadiums. We also have a partnership with USA Triathlon to sponsor their events as GBAC STAR events. So we're expanding. We're hitting all these major leagues. We've also seen in college football, all of the bowl games, the ones that have been played, many have been taking place in GBAC STAR facilities. So the Rose Bowl was moved from Pasadena this year to AT&T Stadium in Dallas. The Cotton Bowl, also hosted by Dallas. Several in Camping World Stadium in Orlando that has just been accredited. And then we've had one even in Frisco, Texas. It was the New Mexico Bowl at Toyota Stadium there. So we really enjoy seeing these venues that have put so much work into earning this accreditation, being able to put them into practice with hosting these events.
It's going to be hard to find a place that's not GBAC STAR accredited eventually. That's what I'm thinking.
That's the hope.
Yeah. Well, listen, I do look forward to the Super Bowl as well, and I assume you're going to root for the Browns if they make it.
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you both for your time.